Before you scroll past this, thinking it's just another kitchen tip, let me ask you something. What if one tiny habit, something as simple as a pinch of seeds after a meal, could quietly improve how your body feels every single day after 60? Most people overlook it, and that's exactly why it works. Over the years, working closely with senior health, I've seen a clear pattern. It's not always the big changes that make the difference. It's the small, consistent habits, the ones no one really talks about. And one of the most overlooked fennel seeds? Now I know what you're thinking. If it was really that helpful, wouldn't everyone be doing it already? Not necessarily, because the most powerful things are often the simplest and the easiest to ignore. Let's talk about something you've probably felt recently. You finish a normal meal, nothing heavy, nothing unusual. But instead of feeling satisfied, you feel uncomfortable. Your stomach feels tight, heavy, bloated. Almost like your body is taking longer than it used to. That full for too long feeling, it's not in your head. As we age, digestion naturally slows down. Food stays in the stomach longer, gas builds up more easily, and that light discomfort starts becoming a daily thing. This is where something very small starts making a noticeable difference. Just a small pinch of fennel seeds after meals, not as a medicine, not as a treatment, but as a gentle signal to your digestive system. Almost like telling your body, let's get things moving, and slowly. That pressure starts to ease, that heaviness softens, that bloated feeling doesn't stick around as long. But here's where it gets more interesting. Because digestion isn't the only thing changing after 60. Blood sugar becomes more sensitive to even if you've never had issues before. Those sudden dips in energy, that tired feeling after meals, that unexpected hunger, they're often connected. And fennel seeds contain natural compounds that may help your body stay more balanced, not in a dramatic way, but in a steady, supportive way that helps avoid those spikes and those crashes. Now think about this. How many times have you dealt with a dry, irritating throat that just won't go away? Instead of reaching for something artificial, many people are turning to something much simpler. Fennel tea, warm, soothing, and surprisingly effective. It gently coats the throat, easing that constant irritation, without harsh ingredients. And then there's something we rarely say out loud. Bad breath? It becomes more common with slower digestion and changes in oral health. And here again, fennel quietly helps. Just chewing a few seeds releases a natural freshness. Subtle, slightly sweet, but noticeably clean. No chemicals. No artificial aftertaste. Just something simple, doing exactly what your body needs. But here's the part most people don't realize. These seeds don't stop at digestion or freshness. There's something deeper going on, something that may affect your eyes, fluid balance, and even your immune system. And in the next part, I'll show you exactly how. Stay with me because this is where it starts getting truly surprising. Before you start thinking this is only about digestion, let me stop you right there, because what most people miss about fennel seeds is what they do beyond the stomach. In fact, this tiny habit may be affecting parts of your body you didn't even connect to it. Let me explain. What if that same small pinch, the one you take after meals, could quietly help reduce swelling, support your vision, and even strengthen your body's defenses? Sounds like a stretch, right? But stay with me because this is where it starts getting interesting. Let's start with something many people over 60 deal with, but rarely talk about openly. That feeling of swelling. Your rings feel tighter than usual. Your shoes feel slightly uncomfortable by the end of the day. And sometimes you wake up and your face just looks puffy. Not painful, not alarming, but definitely not normal either. In many cases, this comes down to something simple: your body holding onto excess fluid. And this is where fennel does something surprisingly helpful. It works as a gentle, natural diuretic. Not aggressive, not draining. Just enough to help your body release what it doesn't need. So instead of feeling heavy, your body slowly starts letting go. And that tight, uncomfortable feeling, it begins to ease. You feel lighter, less restricted, more like yourself again. Now here's something most people never expect. Your eyes. Think about it. Have you noticed your eyes getting tired faster? Maybe things aren't as sharp as they used to be. Or your eyes feel dry, strained, especially later in the day. That's not unusual after 60. But here's the surprising part. Fennel seeds contain natural compounds and antioxidants that may help support eye health from the inside. Not instantly, not dramatically, but steadily. Over time, almost like giving your eyes quiet support every single day. And then there's something even more important. Your immune system. Because here's the reality. After a certain age, your body doesn't recover the same way. A minor cold lingers longer. Fatigue sticks around, and your body just doesn't bounce back like it used to. This is where daily habits matter more than ever. Fennel seeds are packed with plant compounds, vitamins, and minerals that help your body stay more resilient. Not as a quick fix, but as a steady layer of protection, building up quietly over time And when you step back and look at the full picture, better digestion, less bloating, more stable energy, reduced swelling, fresher breath, support for your eyes and your immune system, all from something so small. It almost feels too simple. But here's the mistake many people make, and this is important. They assume that because something is natural, it must be completely safe in any amount. That's where things can go wrong, because in certain situations, fennel seeds can actually cause problems instead of helping. And in the next part, I'm going to show you 3 specific cases where you need to be very careful. If you fall into one of these groups, this could save you from making a serious mistake. Stay with me, this part is critical. Before you make this a daily habit, I need you to stop for a moment, because this is the part most people skip. And it's exactly where mistakes happen. Yes, fennel seeds can be helpful, but for some people, they can quietly create problems you don't see coming. And the truth is most people never realize it until it's too late. So let's go through this carefully, because this could protect you or someone you love. The first group that needs to pay close attention is anyone with certain food sensitivities or allergies. Now, here's what most people don't know. Fennel belongs to the same plant family as carrots, celery, and parsley. So if you've ever had a reaction to any of those, even something mild like itching, swelling, or discomfort, your body may react to fennel in a similar way. And when it happens, it can feel confusing because you're trying something healthy, but your body doesn't agree with it. So if you've had those kinds of reactions before, don't ignore that signal. Your body is telling you something. Now the second group, this one is even more serious. People dealing with hormone-sensitive conditions. This includes certain types of cancers or medical conditions influenced by estrogen. Here's why this matters. Fennel seeds contain natural compounds that can act in a similar way to estrogen inside the body. For many people, that's not a problem. But if your condition depends on keeping hormones balanced, this can interfere in ways you don't immediately notice. It's subtle, but over time, it can matter. And this is where guessing becomes dangerous. If this applies to you, this isn't something to experiment with. This is something to discuss with your doctor first. Now the third group, this one surprises almost everyone. People with bleeding concerns, or those taking blood-thinning medication, because fennel may slow down how quickly your blood clots. For most people, that's not noticeable. But if your body already has difficulty clotting, or you're on medications that affect it, this can increase the risk of excessive bleeding. Even something smaller cut. A bruise might take longer than usual to heal, and that's not something you want to take lightly. So here's what really matters. Fennel seeds are not good or bad. They're simply a tool. And like any tool, they only help when used in the right situation. Your body is different. Your health history matters. And the smartest thing you can do is make decisions based on what works for you, not what works for everyone else. Now, if you've stayed with me this far, you already understand something most people overlook. It's not about big, complicated changes. It's about small habits, done consistently, that support your body over time. Less discomfort, better digestion, more balance in how you feel every day. And if this opened your eyes even a little, make sure you subscribe, because on this channel, we break down simple habits that can truly make a difference after 60. And before you go, tell me in the comments, have you ever tried fennel seeds before? Your experience might help someone else avoid a mistake, or discover something that works. And that's how we take better care of each other. Now here's something most people never stop to think about. What if you're using fennel seeds the wrong way, and that's why you're not seeing results? Because it's not just what you take, it's when and how you use it that makes all the difference. And this is where most people unknowingly get it wrong. So let's make this simple. If your goal is better digestion, and for most people over 60, that's the biggest issue, then timing becomes critical. The best moment, right after you finish eating, not before your meal, not an hour later, immediately after. Because at that exact moment, your digestive system is already working. And fennel doesn't force anything. It simply supports what your body is trying to do naturally. Think of it like this. Your stomach is already in motion, and fennel gives it just a little extra push in the right direction. Now here's a mistake I see all the time. People assume more is better. They take a full spoon, sometimes even more, thinking it will speed things up. But your body doesn't respond that way. In fact, too much can do the opposite. It can lead to discomfort, sensitivity, even irritation in some cases. So keep it simple. A small pinch, about half a teaspoon. That's it. Because consistency matters far more than quantity. Now, if chewing seeds isn't something you enjoy, there's another option many people actually prefer. Fennel tea. Just lightly crush a small amount of seeds. Add them to hot water. Let them sit for a few minutes, and you have something warm, soothing, and easy on your system. This works especially well if you're dealing with a dry or irritated throat, that heavy bloated feeling after meals, or mild digestive discomfort that lingers longer than it should. And many people find this method more relaxing, especially in the evening. But here's the part you need to understand clearly. This is not a quick fix. You're not going to feel completely different overnight. Real change doesn't work like that. What you'll notice instead is something gradual, less bloating after a few days, a lighter feeling after meals within a week, and over time, a more comfortable, balanced body. And let me ask you something honestly. How many times have you felt that discomfort and just told yourself, this is normal now? I'm just getting older. But what if it's not something you have to accept? What if your body is simply asking for small adjustments, not big, complicated changes, just small, consistent ones? Because that's where real improvement begins, not with extremes, but with simple habits done daily. And sometimes, it starts with something as small as a pinch. Now, if this made you rethink your routine even a little, share this with someone who always complains about bloating or discomfort after meals. It might help them more than you think. And if you want more simple, practical health strategies designed specifically for people over 60, make sure you subscribe, because your health doesn't change overnight. But with the right habits, it absolutely can improve over time. Before you turn this into a daily habit, there's one final truth you need to understand, because this is exactly where most people either see real results or quietly give up. It's not about doing this once. It's about building something your body can depend on. And that's where the real difference begins. Let me explain. Most people try a new habit for a few days, maybe a week, and when nothing dramatic happens, they stop. They assume it didn't work. But here's what they don't realize. Your body, especially after 60, doesn't respond to quick fixes. It responds to consistency. Think about it for a moment. Your digestion didn't slow down overnight. That bloated feeling didn't appear in a single day. Your energy didn't suddenly drop out of nowhere. So expecting an instant transformation, that's where most people go wrong. What fennel seeds offer is something much more realistic and honestly much more powerful. They work gradually, quietly, supporting your body day by day, meal by meal. And over time, those small changes start adding up. You begin to notice it in simple ways. You feel lighter after eating. That heavy, uncomfortable feeling doesn't linger as long. Your body starts feeling more stable, more predictable, and that quiet stability, that's what real progress actually looks like. Not dramatic, not extreme, but steady and lasting. Now, here's something else that matters. Fennel seeds are not a magic solution. They won't cancel out heavy meals. They won't fix lack of movement. And they won't replace hydration or good habits. But when you combine them with simple actions, that's when things really start to shift. Eating a little slower, drinking enough water, taking even a short walk after meals, avoiding heavy food late at night. These small habits work together, almost like giving your body multiple signals that say, let's function better, not harder. And here's the part most people overlook. You don't need complicated routines. You don't need expensive supplements. You don't need to completely change your life overnight. Sometimes, the most powerful improvements come from the simplest things done consistently. A small pinch after a meal, a mindful bite, a short walk, a glass of water. That's how real health is built. Not in one big moment, but in small decisions repeated every day. Now, if you've watched this far, you're already doing something most people don't. You're paying attention. You're learning. You're taking control of your health step by step. And that matters more than anything. So if this gave you even one new insight, take a second to like this video. Subscribe for more simple, practical health strategies designed specifically for people over 60. And before you go, share this with someone who always says, I just feel uncomfortable after eating. Because sometimes, the solution isn't complicated. Sometimes, it starts with something as small as a pinch.